Old World, Florida. Dr. Narco Longo.
Brought to you by the Florida Department of Magic. Welcome to Florida, baby.
Florida is the original Garden of Eden.
Florida has the highest concentration of freshwater springs in the world.
Florida oranges are the golden apples of mythology. A race of giant men once roamed this peninsula. The Smithsonian can suck my balls.
Florida is littered with many ancient megalithic ship anchors, known as sacks or stones.
I'm bringing Saxa back.
Noah's Ark was constructed out of gopher wood. Gopher wood only grows one place in the world, Florida. Florida is the birthplace of the United States. The first Thanksgiving was in Florida. Let the black drink flow.
Orange man good. Click his way out of Florida.
What's up, everyone? Can you guys hear us? Happy Thursday, Thursday, as we like to call it around here. And welcome to the show tonight. We're going to be talking about a pretty interesting chapter in Florida history. Not so distant history, but this is tonight with Juan Titor here, my co-host. We're going to be talking about the story of John Titor, who was allegedly, a self-proclaimed time traveler from Florida who came back to Florida. I think Juan's going to fill us in on the specifics. But basically, a lot of people on YouTube have talked about this story, these claims, this coast to coast radio, thing that popped up on some blogs. This guy claimed to be from the future, and there's a whole lot of claims he made. But one thing that we're going to focus on is a crucial part of his mission to, come back to the future and save the world in some way go back to the past, was to get an IBM computer, an IBM 5100, and to take that back into the future because they really, really needed one for something. And then, but yeah, so where many other YouTube channels have focused on kind of the veracity of his claims and dug into who he really was, what we're going to dive into is why IBM, why the computer, and especially how it pertains to Florida. For those who don't know, IBM has had multiple headquarters, or at least regional headquarters, in Florida. So they had a lot of operations in Tallahassee for a time, and then Boca Raton, Florida, where I'm from. IBM largely put Boca Raton on the map because one of IBM's first personal computers was invented and produced from Boca Raton, Florida. Boca Raton is famous for some other things, but we're not just going to talk about Boca. And also, unlike many other YouTube channels, I've actually gone to that IBM headquarters in Boca Raton. It's not an IBM building anymore, but that original building still stands, and it's pretty impressive. In fact, if I just kind of put us away for a sec, you guys see that? The thumbnail and the background for our video here. On the left, that is an aerial shot of the IBM headquarters in Boca Raton, Florida. Now, what do you notice? It's shaped in a hexagon. You can also kind of make out a Masonic compass there if you really want to, too. You also see some kind of twin symbolism, and I'm willing to bet that this whole structure is some type of molecular structure, like this is the molecular structure of some element. But we're going to dive into all that stuff and a whole lot more. And another part of the whole story that pretty much no one's ever talked about is there was a news show. There was a news show that was held hostage in Florida in the 80s. And this deranged gunman came in. It was a fake gun. We'll talk about it in more depth. Held a news show hostage with a BB gun and made them read something on air about the CIA, computers, maybe some of this guy's fears about AI. And lo and behold, come to find out, this guy was the son of an IBM executive. and this all happened in Florida. So we're going to tie this all in together here, and that was a wordy introduction, but without further ado, Juan Titor, what's up?
Yo, dude, what's up, man? Excited to be here. I know we've talked about the IBM headquarters a couple times. I know we brought it up before in other episodes. Obviously, right? IBM, we have the Stanley Kubrick connection there too that we can get into later on. We have some ties to Kubrick and a lot of this stuff how you were mentioning before we got on air. A lot of these myths and things, how much of it is intelligence, right? How much of it has been planted in society by these intelligence organizations, these three-letter agencies, right? And the John Titor story is interesting because it's been debunked. And it was actually debunked by a guy that I had on the show at this point, probably a couple years ago, Joseph Matheny, which we can get into later on. But I want to talk a little bit about this John Titor guy. And I have the original letters that he had sent in to Art Bell, which, what are your thoughts on him? Do you think he's maybe intelligent a little bit? Because at this point, when this popped off, he was asking people who were time travelers to write into the show. So he kind of played into it, and some people have speculated how much did he have to do with this whole thing. And it's a whole rabbit hole. I mean, to this point, till this day, it's people are still talking about it, like us, and you don't really know if it's true or not, or like if it's true for the people who want it to be true, right? I mean, do you believe in time travel, bro?
No, definitely not in the physical body.
You believe in more of like an astral realm sort of thing, dimensional?
I think we can get glimpses into the past and the future.
Like visions?
Various means. Yeah. Visions. That's what prophesying is. That's what last week we were talking about John D and some angelic, information, angelic conversations. And they claimed that. Oh, thanks for bringing up Mr. Matheny.
Yeah, Joseph Matheny.
Matheny's pretty dang close to Medimi, isn't he?
Yeah.
Who we were talking about last week. But,
yeah, and he's known for ARGs, which is a whole. We'll get into it, right? It's like
Well, I
like-
heard. Sorry to cut you off, Juan, but I heard that the whole Matheny thing is not. It's not. Case closed. Okay, it may be compelling, but I heard some people say that what he claims for the timelines don't quite add up because other people posting as John were outside the timelines. He said he was active.
Uh-oh, bro, the CIA is cutting your connection up.
Hang on.
Is
my audio messed up?
Your feed is choppy and your audio is cutting in and out.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Is it better now?
Yeah. The video is still a little fuzzy, but I can hear you better.
Let me see what I can do.
Go ahead and close some of those tabs, bro. But yeah, so Matheny, I don't want to focus too much on the debunking, but I want to present both sides to where it's like, do you believe in all this stuff? At the end of the day, it's he said, she said. If something like this were to come out today, and this guy had pictures, he had a whole bunch of stuff, I would tell you it's AI, right? I mean, nowadays, even that article I sent you, bro, where I had brought up where people were experiencing tremors here in Florida, and there was earthquakes off the coast of Florida, and all these earthquakes, and there was people commenting on it like, yeah, did you feel that here in wherever it was, New Smyrna Beach or whatever? I felt it too. Yes, this and that. And then when I looked into it, it was AI slop. And I fell for it again because I thought it was real, because I want it to be real, right? Like a part of me wants it to be real. So when you get all these pictures nowadays that people fall for, you can dismiss it as, especially nowadays with the technology, as AI. But in this, when this came out, which was I believe it was 98 is when this came out. And I'll pull up here the original faxes that he sent Art Bell. He sent 2 different faxes, and this whole thing dives into a crazy story, which we can get into. Let me share my screen here. All right, so these are the original faxes that he had sent in, and this is on archive.org because obviously this is really old. This is from July 29, 1998. And there's also another website called johntitor.com, which has absolutely everything. It's compiled by this guy named Oliver, which I guess was a fan or a believer. Or, he believes some of the stuff, he doesn't believe others, but there's a whole thing if people want to dive deeper into it. But he goes, "Dear Art, I had to fax when I heard other time travelers calling in from any time past the year 2500 AD. Please let me explain." So this is important because 2500 AD, this guy had proposed some prophecies, right? He's like, hey, after 2500, there's nothing. The world has been completely demolished. There's nothing. When we go there, it's all black, right? So that's what's interesting about that. Please let me explain. Time travel was invented in 2034. Offshoots of certain successful fusion reactor research allowed scientists at CERN to produce the world's first contained singularity engine. The basic design involves rotating singularities inside a magnetic field. By altering the speed and direction of rotation, you can travel both forward and backward in time. Time itself can be understood in terms of connected lines. When you go back in time, you travel on your original timeline. When you turn your singularity engine off, a new timeline is created due to the fact that you and your time machine are now there. In other words, a new universe is created. So he's talking about multi-universe theory, right? Multi-timeline, string theory, blah, blah, blah. We can get into all that quantum mechanics stuff, which I don't understand, and I'm not going to pretend to understand. But essentially, the way he paints it is, if you look at a cone, right, the cone is smaller on this end, bigger on this end. And the further in time that you travel, the bigger the variances can be. So the if you travel a smaller amount of time, right, on that cone, the variances are going to be different. And the way he sets it up, he speaks about actual quantum mechanic theories that are real, which he'll mention one here soon. And he also talks about we'll get into it. So, in other words, a new universe is created. To get back to your original timeline, you must travel a split second farther back and immediately throw the engine into forward without turning it off. And he kind of protects himself because at one point he says that there are variances, 2.5% variance, right? So, because people were asking him, like, hey, which
2.5 inch variance.
Yeah, 2.5 inches, right? So 2.5% to 2%, whatever it was, of variance between all different timelines. Because people were asking him, like, hey, can you predict who won the Super Bowl in X year? Because right, if you had a time machine, bro, you'd want to do what? I mean, we've all seen Back to the Future.
Yeah. Okay. Since you brought that up, Juan, okay. If we're gonna call BS on the John Titor story, it's pretty much just fucking Back to the Future and like Austin Powers, like time machine in the car, like slam it into forward,
88 miles
then
an hour.
backward, forward, then reverse, and then that triggers it into the time machine. Like, come on, that's BS. But keep going.
Well, he gets into some things that are interesting. Okay, so some interesting outcomes of this area. One, you meet yourself. I have done it often, even taken a younger version of myself along for a few rides before returning myself to a new timeline and going back to mine. 2, you can alter history in the new universe that you have just created. Most of the time, the changes are subtle. Sometimes I'll notice car models that don't exist or books that come out late. The oldest one was a skyscraper that wasn't built in a near favorite store of mine in New York. Interestingly, when you travel in time, you must compensate for the orbit of the Earth. All right, so he wasn't a flat earther, okay, guys? He wasn't a flat earther. He talks about the orbit of the Earth. Since the time machine doesn't move, you have to adjust the engine so you remain on the planet when you turn it off. Unfortunately, it was also discovered that anyone going forward in time from my 2036 hit a brick wall in the year 2564. So that's why it's interesting. He said everyone, time travelers from the year after 2500. So they hit a brick wall at 2564. Everyone who has ever been there has reported that nothing exists. When the machine is turned off, you find yourself surrounded by blackness and silence. Now,
and that's how John cut through all the other people calling in, sending messages into coast to coast, saying, "Oh, I'm from the year 3000. I'm from the year 5000. I'm from the year 10,000," and all this shit. And John Titor comes in. He's like, "All you people after 2500 are fucking faking." He's like, "And I know because I'm from the actual future." But yeah.
Now most time travelers are trying to find out where the line went bad by going into the past, creating a new universe and proceeding forward to see if the same thing results in 2564. It appears the line went bad around the year 2000, because mind you, this is before the Y2K thing. And I think there was a recent one that people were freaking out about. I don't remember. It was like a year ago. Some date that people said that the world was going to end. And then obviously it came and went, and nothing ever happened.
Well, I remember 12, 12, 12, 2012.
12/21. I think it was 12/21.
2012.
2012. That was another one. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. People said that was like the rapture.
Yeah, which some people think it already happened. So it's like, which camp are you in? Are you in the camp that believes it's coming, or in the camp that it already happened? Right. So around the year 2000, I'm here now in this time to test a few theories of mine before going forward. Now, for the future, you might want to know about: 1, Y2K is a disaster. Many people die on the highways when they freeze to death trying to get to warmer weather. 2, the government tries to keep power by instituting martial law, but all of it collapses when their efforts to bring the power back up fail. 3, a power facility in Denver is able to restart itself, but it is mobbed by hundreds of thousands of people and destroyed. This convinces most that maybe we shouldn't bring the old system back up. So he's talking about prophecies, right? He's predicting events. Now, some people say that he did predict certain things that happen. For example, instituting martial law, right? The government overstepping its boundaries and all this stuff. Because he talked about also, he was kind of anti-establishment a little bit. He's like, we're producing all these things. I'm going to these different timelines and seeing all this garbage that we're producing. People aren't appreciating all the information that they have access to at all times. You guys have books. You guys have all these things because, mind you, in his timeline, after everything, there was a nuclear holocaust. Like there was nuclear war, and everything got destroyed, and the United States was broken up into different sections, and they're pretty much just fending for themselves. Right. So he's kind of like on that thing, like, and it's almost like whenever there's like alien contactees, that's like, what do they tell you? They told us to get rid of our nuclear weapons, right? Like it's always like something along those lines of like, you're going to destroy yourselves. Like the Palladians told me that I, needed to do X, Y, and Z, right? It's always like some sort of that same message of be pure, right? Love one another, love and peace, give up your weapons and all this other stuff, right? So where we at? Bring back the old system. 4, a few years later, communal government is developed after the Constitution takes a few twists. China retakes Taiwan, Israel wins the largest battle for their life, and Russia is covered in nuclear snow from their collapsed reactors. Art, the reason I'm here now is because I believe a nuclear weapon set off by Iraq in the Middle East war with Israel might have something to do with the damaged timeline. I will test that theory and get back to you. Okay. Please pray that we discover the reason why there's no apparent future after 2564. So
yeah, we don't need to read them all, but thank you, Juan. That was the first facts. And did he ever call in, or Art just read those himself? Right.
So this is where it gets later on. He never called in, but remember that Lawrence guy that we found online?
Yeah.
Larry Haber. Calls it. Yeah. He calls in allegedly with Titor's mom. and he's kind of talking for her on the phone with Art Bell, supposedly, and you can hear him like asking her questions, but then he answers back so much stuff that somebody couldn't have been able to tell you. That he's like, hey, so did you see him before? Yeah, she said that she saw him, and there was all the, and he just like goes on, and I'm like, wait a minute, you can't even hear like a voice in the background.
Right.
So again, it's a little weird, but Titor never, like, they never put a face on the name, and they don't even know if that's his real name. But allegedly, when Lawrence had called in Larry, the John Titor of this timeline was 8 years old, allegedly, right? Because he exists in this timeline because he was born in '98, but again, he's on a different timeline. So it's a bizarre story, and it's like, how much of it do you want to go with, that you want to believe? Because one of the things that's interesting, right? If we get into this here,
Well, here, let's real quick, if I may, before we
yeah,
kind of tear away his claims and his credibility too much. There are some claims he made that his prophecies really didn't come true, but
eh,
some
kind of.
things he knew that he kind of couldn't known unless he had intimate knowledge of IBM computers. So one of his kind of first proofs that he didn't really use, but others kind of used to validate what he was saying, was he needed an IBM 5100 because it had a special, what was it?
Because it could communicate with the mainframe, and it was something he called a legacy code. Which, what's interesting about it is, it was later confirmed by people who had worked on the IBM, that the existence of this undocumented, quote unquote, ability to uh, communicate with these mainframes, which is what they needed in the future, allegedly.
Mhm.
It was later confirmed by engineers who worked on the 5100 of this undocumented ability, and it's to emulate
Right.
and translate code from older IBM frames, which is the huge IBM computers, which essentially is what they needed in the future. I guess I don't. Again,
Now, he made this claim about 2500, basically saying, time travelers after 2500 or 2560, something like that, they're all fakers because there's no time after 2500. Well, he said something a little similar right there. You can see about the year 2036 and 2038. So he kind of was on the money about this thing that's similar to Y2K, where
oh wow,
because of the number of
yeah,
digits used to compute like global time, I don't know. I don't know how to word that. That there's only 32 digits. And because of that, time will run out on many, computer systems because of, you know, the limited digits. So right there at the top, you see the binary code. There's like 32, I think.
it's called the Y. So they have it as Y2038, Y2K38, Y2K38 Superbug, or the Apocalypse. I didn't know about this one, dude. This is new to me.
Okay. So he was pretty close to accurately predicting that. But again, that's not something that a time traveler could only have known. That's something that someone who knew, uh,
Behind the scenes.
intimately knew about computers, computer coding, uh, they would have known that. Now, what else? One thing that gave John Titor away that I think is pretty damning is he's been studied linguistically by many experts trying to, expose or identify him. And one thing that they noticed was his spelling of the word website appears to be a smoking gun. So he uses website with a space, no hyphen, not a single word, spaced web space site. That's often what happens, and that's how they used to spell website in 1980 or 1987 or 1998. You know, whenever John Titor says whatever, he contacts in 1998, right, for the first time,
Mhm.
and he uses website with a space. Now that shows that he had probably started using computers in the 1970s or 80s, or I don't know when the word website was invented, but the earlier a word comes into usage, when a word's created, oftentimes it's two existing words that are spaced apart. And then over time, they get pushed together, or they'll get hyphenated and then pushed together. So, website as a single word is what?
So 92 to 94. And mind you, who created the World Wide Web? CERN. Remember, CERN created the internet.
Oh, wow.
And they had created it in order to, quote unquote, have scientists share information between one another. It was supposed to be a network within themselves to share information back and forth. So, right, www 666, like we all talk about that, right?
So, in the future,
Right here.
everyone says website, single word. It's spelled website. So the evolution of the word over time was web space site, then sometimes web hyphenated site, and then just the single word, right? So the fact that John Titor almost exclusively, if not exclusively, uses web space site shows that he had experience with computers early on, you know, in the early 90s or 80s, and stuck with the earlier, like archaic spelling, even though he's claiming to be from the future. So if he's claiming to be from the future, he would have been using the futuristic spelling of website. Now, the copium that would come with along with that would probably be, oh, well, in my timeline, we kept that original spelling because
Yes.
with the timeline BS, you can always kind of make your way out of any
You're breaking
corner.
up again, Longo.
Shit.
Yo.
One sec.
There, you're back now, but you were breaking up there pretty bad.
How do I sound?
Yeah, your audio is fine when you're talking. It's just the connection, I think, bro.
Oh, shit. All right.
The CIA is hard at work, bro. They're trying to take you down. We can't talk about Titor.
That's all right. So, okay. So there's, you know, most of the evidence points to him not being an actual time traveler, but they haven't been able to identify the real, you know, faker, the guy pretending to be John Titor with absolute certainty. So Juan mentioned this Matheny guy who kind of takes credit, like, you know, am I right, Juan? He's the guy who says, oh, I created that. It was,
That it was his idea. So he says it was a group of, I believe, 3 other people, and that his idea behind the John Titor character is it's because it's based off of John Connor from the Terminator, right? And he says that it was actually 3 other people writing it for him that he had consulted, but he can't disclose who they were because they're too famous, right? So it's kind of in the gray area. And
oh, okay. So listen, that kind of makes sense, the John Connor thing, because John, you know, from John Connor, and then
yes,
Titor, it's like all the Terminators are T dash
they said it
this.
was an
T.
anagram. They said it was like time travel something or other. I
Okay.
forgot what Oliver had said, but he said it was like an anagram for something. It was time, uh, traveler, ops, or something like that. Something along those lines. It's an anagram. But yeah, the interesting part about it, right? So Joseph Matheny, which I've had him on the show, and I had him on the show because of something else, because of Ong's hat. which is a alternate reality game. It's an ARG, and what they want to do is kind of sort of bring forth this what they call metafiction, where it's a story but you involve real life characters. But the problem with that is, dude, is that a lot of people in this world, in this reality, they start to identify with that and they start to blend in with these concepts and these ideologies, and they take it for real and they're
Mhm.
serious about this sort of stuff. And
Yeah.
to the point where
They
even
won't believe you when you tell them the tooth fairy isn't real.
yeah, they'd rather believe that it's actually a real thing than to believe it's not. And some people even were stalking Joseph Matheny for his Ong's hat, because that was one of the earliest conspiracies, and it also talked about time travel and alternate dimensions. So and Joseph Matheny is not just some regular Joe Schmo. Like, this guy has multiple patents in technology. He was working with Adobe. He was working with like all these early computer companies in
Mhm.
technology. So it would make sense that they had the knowledge of the technology as far as the quantum mechanics and everything. And then when you also play take into consideration the Lawrence connection, where his brother is also a so Maury
So
Haber.
yeah, let's talk about the Habers. So, putting Matheny to the side, most people point to the Habers,
Yeah.
right? The Habers are the most commonly proposed candidates for the real John Titor. The people claiming to be John Titor, and the reason for that is one of them has is experienced in kind of patent law. Is that correct? Or
Entertainment law. He's an entertainment
entertainment
lawyer.
law? Okay. Um, another one
He worked at
had
Disney too for a long time.
computer
Security.
experience, and I think the third one was linguistically like a perfect match for John Titor's speaking style and typing style. Yeah, Maury, allegedly, according to, like forensic linguists, and there's been a couple who've looked at this stuff, said Maury Haber was an exact match for, or a near exact match for John Titor's speaking style.
He has more
So,
than 25 years of IT industry experience. They call him a technical evangelist at the company. That's kind of weird. But yeah, this guy's in cybersecurity. So if anyone knew about technology and infrastructure and things of that nature, it
mhm.
would be these. So they kind of formed this conspiracy that Larry Haber took care of the business end of things, because they've even copyrighted John Titor. Like, it's a copyrighted time
Mhm.
traveler. There's been books written about it. There
Yeah,
was movies in the
and
works, you know?
and they did interview a videoed interview claiming to be in contact with John Titor, saying, "Oh yeah, John Titor's, he he entrusted his estate to us, and like we have his goodbye video, we have the rights to his book, and um, so they claim direct involvement." And what was it with the IP addresses? John Titor claims to be from Tampa,
Mhm.
but apparently his IP address, was that him or was that one of the Haber's IP addresses? Went
They
to
had
Kissimmee.
traced, so they had hired a private investigator, and the IP address, they had traced it back, and it was an IP address connected to Teeter was geolocated to Kissimmee, Florida. And then there was
Where,
another one where it was a PO box that they were receiving stuff at
yeah.
in Kissimmee, Florida.
And
So
the Habers pretty much live in Kissimmee,
Central
right?
Florida. No,
Pretty close.
uh,
Altamont,
Altamont. Yeah,
maybe. How close
Altamont.
is that? I
It's
forget.
like 35-minute, 40-minute drive from where I'm at.
Yeah. So, but a
So
lot closer than Tampa,
yeah,
where,
dude. I told you so when I got done downtown today, I wanted to go the opposite way on I-4 to go visit this guy. And I
right?
was gonna go into his office and be like, "Yo, what can you tell me? I'm here
Yeah.
for John." where's John at? And I wanted him to give me the tapes and give me the everything. So I was tempted to, bro, but I didn't because I had other things to do. But maybe next time I'm in the area, I'll pay old Lawrence a visit and give him the old "who do you work for?" and see if
Right.
I can get him to admit if John Titor was fake or not.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so the Habers, but no one has ever publicly come out and said like, "Hey, we were the ones," or "Hey, we weren't the ones." But yes, it is copyrighted. Somebody was making money, and allegedly, Larry Haber was hired by Titor's family for all this entertainment rights and things of that nature. There's even animes, bro, that are made based off of this story.
Really.
Okay, from 2009, I believe it was. So this is like very popular in media at the moment. Where so right here, Steins Gate. It's an anime from 2009 that apparently incorporates the John Titor legend. And you know how many people have probably been exposed to that. I'm sorry, it was made into an anime in 2011. So it was a
Nice.
Japanese anime television series produced by White Fox. And yeah, so again, people are exposed to this. Where else is there a docudrama?
John Titor is good.
Yeah, pretty much, bro. A docudrama which I wanted to check out and have time to. And yeah, there's been various nods to the Titor, and people are still talking about it even till this day because it is an interesting thing where
Mm-hmm.
could it be all fake, right? Maybe, but it kind of makes you think. And obviously, Art Bell really played into it hard because he was the guy that kind of put out the call to have people reach out to him. And
Yeah.
then how you're saying he kind of shut the other people down, like, yeah, you know what, dude? After blah blah blah, there's nothing else. So automatically, all those other guys are out the door.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the real deal. And
Yeah.
then he provided pictures which we can look at, and he provided schematics. Let me pull them up here. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, they're kind of weird. They kind of look like vaginal a little bit. If I, well, you tell me. Maybe I'm
Here, let me
just
pull it
seeing
up.
stuff, but so yeah, guys. While Juan's pulling that up, get a good look at IBM headquarters in Boca Raton, Florida, on the left there, left side of
All
the
right.
screen.
So he provided schematics allegedly, right? And mind you, he was part of this. I don't want to call it. He was part of this team. These temporal. I forgot what they called it. Temporal something where they like their job was to go back in time and things of that nature. And so he provided these. So the Tipler Sinusoid field, which is an actual thing presented, I believe, in 1974 in regards to time travel and quantum mechanics. So it's a real concept, mind you. He was bringing up real concepts, but that's part of an ARG where you're taking real world things and mixing them into this metafictional story and then running with it. Okay. So that's part of the whole thing. So he's got this, and then he's got the schematics, and he's got a schematic here or a picture of it in I believe this is a Corvette. And the reason that he had a Corvette was because he says that whatever time he goes, so allegedly he had traveled to, I think it was either 1974, 1976, 98, 99, or 99 and 2000, and then
Mm-hmm.
that was it, right? He was gone. But he had this Corvette, and people were like, "Hey, why a Corvette?" And he said that what he tried
Because
to
it's
do,
badass.
well, right, like Knight Rider or something like that. He tried to blend into the times that he was going in, but then the issue was that when he went back further in time, the 70s Corvette in the year 2000 was kind of rare. So he's like, "Oh, I got too much heat on me. Now I'm going to buy like this 4x4 pickup, this Chevy pickup, so I blend in more." But the reason that he needs to have the machine in a vehicle is because it needs to be portable, right? Which I guess, but you'd think that maybe they'd make it a little smaller, bro, or at least make it into a backpack or something so you can at least wear it. Like, come on, dude, you're talking about the future. Talking about what the year 23,
Exactly.
whatever it was. Like, come on, right? Like nowadays, the amount of
iPhone.
information that we have on like a little, you can get gigabytes and micro SDs, or like our phones, like 1 terabyte. Like that was unheard of back then, when we were growing up. So it's like you're in the future. You don't think that they would advance that a little bit more? But a picture taken right here. He's talking about a picture taken in the fall of 2035 during my training. Shows my instructor beaming a handheld laser outside the vehicle during operation.
It's like Ghostbusters level technology.
I mean, that kind of looks. It doesn't look AI. It looks real, right? Is it real props? Okay, I'll give him that.
Hey, can we get a early life check on the Habers, or a name origin on Haber?
Oh gosh.
Time travel. I'm think we're.
Oh.
I think we're.
Hold on.
Hey, this ain't time travel. This is dime travel, baby.
Hold on. I got this.
Now we're talking. Now the show's.
Where's my button?
Illuminati confirmed.
It's too late now, dude. But it's here it goes.
Illuminati confirmed.
There we go. It's been so long since I've used this soundboard, but I don't know where anything is at. But yeah. So
Illuminati confirmed.
German and Ashkenazi Jewish.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Hey, I'm sure he's a good guy, bro. But whatever. Who cares?
Mm-hmm. Wasn't there someone named Stern involved with?
Stern doesn't ring a bell. Oh, another
Dana Lee Stern. Okay, look this up. Dana Lee Stern. This guy, search Dana Lee Stern. See, I knew it.
Dana Lee Stern. And the Titor or what?
Yeah.
Who is this?
And then keyword search Titor after that. Yeah.
Oh, this guy.
So Dana Lee Stern, and also, can we get a early life check on Stern, or name origin check on Stern?
You don't gotta tell me that one.
This guy's, yep. This guy's claiming.
What?
Oh, what the hell? Read that.
What? Yeah, bro. What is that? Okay. Hold on, bro. Hold on. Where'd you get this guy from?
I was just learning about John Titor earlier.
All right. The identity of this second public Titor is believed to be Dana Lee Stern Sr., a man with a notable criminal record, a pile of aliases, and who claims his own son injected Windex into his brother's brain as a child to give him cancer.
Jesus.
What? Oh, man. Okay. Pamela is another one that allegedly was close to Titor, that had a dream of a man that was time traveling or something or other, and then she found him on the forums and decided to reach out. Right. So we have another.
Yeah, but this Pamela lady was the only person that John Titor ever dedicated messages to, and wrote a goodbye message to, like, oh, thank you, Pam. You did so much for me. Like, almost said, like, I couldn't have made it back to the future without you. And, Titor was trying to smash, bro. Titor was trying to smash some.
It's some time traveling poon. All right, so was exposed via the John in December 2016. John Titor's true identity, Dana Lee Stern Sr., was exposed via YouTube. When his true identity was confirmed as Dana Lee Stern Sr., he was blacklisted from popular media, and book sales dropped to nothing due to Dana's misrepresentation and fraud. The book contract and book sales were dissolved. What is this? Jason quit writer and dimensional energy healer in a post on his website. Oh, so these are all posts and stuff about this guy, I guess. Let's look it up on the actual main page. That doesn't come up on his main page, though. Interesting. See, I didn't see this guy.
Yeah, that's because I go a little bit deeper than Wikipedia. Well,
Hey, I went deeper than
I'll have to teach.
Wikipedia.
I'll have to teach you how to do that one day.
Wikipedia is good to pull up on stream to look at. Okay.
I know. I agree. Yeah, to familiarize the audience with
Yes.
something they haven't heard of before.
But you gotta go in. He talked about another. So let's talk about the stuff that he had prophesized a little bit, which we didn't talk about it that much.
Well,
But
go ahead.
the stuff that he had talked about as far as like the government overreaching and enacting martial law, mind you, this was pre 2001. So what happened post 2001? Like one of the biggest overreaches of the government, right? To put their hand in everything. They had a reason to put their hand in everything because of what had happened, right?
Like 1 year later.
It
wasn't
literally-
Y2K, but 1 year later.
Yeah, exactly. And mind you, there's a 2% variance, so things could have changed a little bit, right? Could have been sooner, could have been later. In this timeline, it was this time, and this other timeline was. So he's protecting himself as far as like, oh, okay. So the U.S. government overreach, and if you look at things now, I think I forgot what I was watching. I think it might have been a video of someone talking about Joe Rogan, and one of the guys that he had on, which was this founder of this company, this AI company that lets law enforcement tap into all the camera systems everywhere. Have you ever heard about that? Where they can like track you real time and the AI recognizes
lock camera, Palantir, all that shit.
Yes, exact flock. So he had this guy on, and they were talking about why it was good to keep these systems implemented. Of like, hey, think about all the crime that's being stopped, right? Because of our systems in play. And then there was a report that was like the AI reported false gunshots like 9 out of 10 times. Like it would hear something, it would call the police. So like in the meantime, isn't like that's what the AI is for, to prevent false alarms and know when it was a real gunshot versus when it's not? Because the cops are going out there, we're wasting resources and taxes and everything. The cops are going out there, and it turned out, oh, the AI was messed up, dude. Sorry about that, right? So there is, and these companies, they all work with the government, and the way that they do it all the time, dude. When LifeLog went offline, Facebook came up the next day. Literally the next day, if you look up the history of LifeLog, and LifeLog was what, a DARPA government operation to do what, to collect information on people. So the government now uses all these shell companies like I was gonna say X, like what the hell's the Elon Musk companies, right? They use all these corporations to kind of step in for them, and that way they wash their hands clean. Like, hey, that's a private entity. You know, Palantir is led by XYZ. Go blame him. Go blame that lizard person over there, and don't look at us. But in the meantime, they're pulling the strings behind the scenes and just using these corporations as puppets essentially for themselves, right?
Totally.
So,
well, let's look at IBM for a sec. You know, why was he talking about the IBM 5100? You know, it's strange. It's weird. IBM, okay, very interesting company, corporation. IBM, I think starting in the 60s. See, search when did IBM move to Boca? When did I'll search it.
For sure. So
1970, 1967 to 1970. 1981, a small team in Boca developed and launched the original IBM personal computer.
Yep.
Model 5150. And again, that is this strange place on the back, on the left here, that almost owl looking, arrangement of the buildings.
And one of the things that we didn't mention on our last episode, but I saw people commenting that's important to talk about, is right, computer chips, quartz crystals, things of that nature, the things that the magicians of the old times would use during their seances, are like John Dee and all these other guys, are the things that are in our computers nowadays. And if you look at like a sigil and a computer board, you can kind of see the resemblance of like the occult mixed in with the technology. The father of the modern day computer, Charles Babbage, tried to summon the devil as a kid, right? Like he tried to prove the existence of God.
Oh, also, real quick, when I just remembered when John Titor claimed that he needed a 5100 or 5100 computer, but either him or Pamela, in some of those pictures you showed, he does end up showing a picture, but it was actually a 5110.
Yeah,
right?
that was a discrepancy. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, so 5110 instead of 5150. But what that shows us is maybe he, was just looking for something close to that, the 5-1 series, right? Like 5110, 5150.
Or maybe it was all fake to begin with.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, if someone were actually,
if they knew what they were talking about, they wouldn't let that slip through.
but I don't think they're trying to pass that as proof. I don't think they're saying, oh, look, here's the computer that's clearly different than that computer on the left, 5110, that has the big monitor and the big top to it. The other one's flat with a tiny monitor. Whatever. Doesn't matter. So IBM has been in Florida since 1960, or Boca Raton since 1967.
They're completely different, bro. By the way, look at this. That's the computer. That's the 5100.
Exactly.
And then that's the computer that he had shown, right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, 2% difference in our timeline. Let's just write it off to the 2% alternate timeline theory right there.
Maybe.
Nothing to see here.
IBM was also in Tallahassee in the mid 80s. But can we go to IBM Wikipedia real quick just to learn a little bit of history? Did you know that
Wikipedia, dude? Are you sure about that? We got to dig deeper.
Yeah. So IBM you want to take another swipe on?
You started it, bro, not me. I don't know. It's not deep enough, dude. It's just Wikipedia.
On the edge. Juan's cortisol spiking over.
Oh man.
Over the Wikipedia allegations.
All right.
But
I'm just gonna do a presentation next time, dude.
Have you heard that IBM apparently counted the number of dead prisoners in the Holocaust? Have you heard about that? Search IBM Holocaust. And we're doing this with all due respect and reverence. Okay,
we're not denying anything, but
yeah, we're just trying to understand IBM here.
Oh my goodness. All right. What? Okay. Yeah. So
come on, man. Read it.
All right. Okay, hold on. Hold on.
You can abbreviate things. Don't get
us
in trouble.
Yeah, let's take this off the screen though. Yo, and shout out to 5 Leaf Clover for the 5 membership. Appreciate you, bro. Yo,
okay, yeah.
Hold on. So, relationship with Germany, according to Black. So, this is a book, by the way, that was published in 2001. IBM and the Holocaust, a strategic alliance between Germany and America's most powerful corporation. Okay. So the relationship with Germany, according to Black, IBM maintained business ties with the regime after Adolf took power in January 1933. Repression of political opponents and Jews began immediately. By April, about 60,000 had been imprisoned. A concentration camp was open at Dachau in March 1933.
Dachau.
Dachau?
Dachau.
Yeah, I guess it's not Japanese, right? It's not Dachau. Despite international boycott calls, IBM continued to operate in Germany, and Heindinger openly supported the new government.
Juan doesn't know how to pronounce all the camps. Rookie.
Yeah, rookie mistake, bro. So, let's see here. The funds. Okay, I'm not getting into what they actually did though. So, didn't
They
Welch?
they apparently created like the numbering system to like count all the prisoners, and then apparently they like lost all the records at the end or something like that.
Sure. All right. So right here. So committed by Germany by facilitating regime's generation and tabulation of punch cards for national census data, military logistics, ghetto statistics, train traffic management, and concentration camp capacity. So they were running the numbers for them, bro. They were the guys behind the numbers,
Hmm.
and they were doing their thing. And wasn't Welch's and Volkswagen also like, or well, Volkswagen's German, but wasn't there something else like companies like that too that had assisted?
Tons of companies. So, if I don't know the specifics on this, but Ford had been doing business in Germany, wanted to keep doing business in Germany, and in order to keep doing business, created like a shell company, which I believe evolved into Volkswagen. So that's, Volkswagen means the people's car, car for the people, like, uh, or person car,
Right here. This is from 2002, by the way. This is 24 years old. Newly discovered documents from Germany prove that the computer company IBM directly supplied the N words with technology which used to help transport millions of people, not those N words, but the other ones from 1940, whatever. Millions of people to their deaths in concentration camps at Auschwitz. I know how to say that one, dude. Auschwitz, Treblinka,
Auschwitz.
a
Ausch
controversial Auschwitz. Yeah. Uh,
what did Jeff I shouldn't say.
no, don't
What
do it.
did the rabbi say
No.
when he spilt
No.
his pastrami sandwich, or when he spilt his
Dude,
what did the rabbi say when he spilt his gefilte fish?
one of the first
Ah,
episodes,
Schwitz.
one of the first episodes I ever did, like when I first got into this space of like conspiracies and all this other stuff, one of the first episodes I ever did that I never aired, okay, was with a hardcore denier. Like this dude, bro, went from 0 to 100 real quick on the podcast. And I was like, wait, like I was new to that. I wasn't like, I was brainwashed, right? And this guy just went, and I was like, wait a minute, there's people who actually don't believe in that. I mean, I believe something happened.
Yeah, Juan, I get it. We all remember our first conspiracy theory.
Could it be
Yeah.
skewed a little bit? I don't know about 7
Well,
million.
think about this. Think about this. Here's what's interesting and what we know for a fact. You know, uh N-word Germany back in the 30s and 40s. They had all these genius scientists working for them, making rockets, missiles, jet propulsion, secret stuff. And then Operation Paperclip, which was long thought to be a hoax, fake, turns out to be real. Big
Warner
government
von
project.
Braun.
We moved many people over from the Third Reich to America, oftentimes with new identities. Now, that happened, yeah. Werner von Braun, he went to America, worked for NASA. There were also a lot of other people like that. There were even people in the American military who would fight in Vietnam, who had been in the SS and stuff like that. There's even people, did you know that there were actually people in the IDF, the Israeli military, who were in the German military in World War II?
I believe it.
It's true. They didn't care who the talent was coming from. They wanted the talent, the expertise. Could it now tell me this? Why is it that IBM, perhaps, being affiliated with the Third Reich, Germany in World War II, of all places, why would they move to Boca Raton, Florida? Why would they have a headquarter in Boca Raton, Florida, which is, with the exception of like certain places in, the Northeast where there's like whole towns of Jewish people, Boca Raton, Florida is like historically the most Jewish, town in America, or one of them. And so for IBM to have kind of that checkered past and then to relocate or to locate themselves to Boca Raton is kind of a weird juxtaposition, But let's learn a little bit more about the IBM headquarters at Boca Raton. So they started moving people down in 1967, and let's look at the building real quick. IBM Boca Raton. Can you search that?
Yeah, I had it pulled up. Boca Raton Historical Society, bro. This is when they were first building it.
Yep.
No good pictures. All right, give me 1 second. I don't know why these are so small.
Well, basically, this place is like nuke proof. Here, let's go to the, we'll just go to maps. Give me 1 sec.
Let me see if I can find information about the actual building in Boca Raton.
All right, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
All right, we're in Mexico.
It's called the
All right,
Innovation Center.
I'm gonna no scope. I'm gonna no scope it.
No, I don't think so, bro.
Yeah,
You're not.
Dude, this-
You don't gotta like that.
bro, this is my hometown. Hang on.
The mouth of the rat, Boca Raton. What a name, dude. So developed in 1960. Oh, it's a school now. Ooh. Let's look up the architect that built it, bro. Designed. Here we go. Let's dig it a little bit deeper than Wikipedia. Let's go a little bit deeper.
Yeah, I bet you've heard that before, huh?
Yeah.
Can we go a little? Can we go
When
a
she
little
says
deeper?
go deeper, and I'm all out of conspiracies. All right. Here we go.
Oh shit! My fucking maps just froze. Oh, what do they call this? Oh, brick. They call this the brick facility.
Brick.
Yeah, because they're all bricked up in there. Okay, 1 sec. Boca Raton Innovation Campus, the bricked facility.
Well, I mean, somebody brought up the idea of the mouth being a portal, where you got
Right.
Boca Raton. Where was El Portal? Is that by Boca, or was that more Miami?
That's like northwest Miami, kind of. It's like a suburb just outside downtown.
Okay.
But you guys see this? What the
There it
hell
is.
is this? Okay.
What the hell is even that?
Daddy, chill.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna pull up the after you're done
Yeah.
there. We're gonna talk
That
about.
kind of looks like CERN, doesn't it? Look at this arrangement in the center with the with this drainage pond or whatever. This perfectly circular pond in the middle. and then you see like the Masonic compass around that. We see this kind of like twin structure. Looks like two kids, right? Looks like the two kids in The Shining, almost. The two twins in The Shining. Is that a stretch? Huge stretch? Well, we've got to segue into Stanley Kubrick somehow at some point in this show. Now, what do we know about the hexagon, Juan? Saturn, the hexagon. Can you search up Saturn's North Pole, please?
Yes, Saturn, North Pole. We're gonna go there, dude. We're gonna go
Yep.
on that conspiracy route, dude. The cube.
Yeah.
I'll talk about the cube worship, bro. Here we go. Here we go. Schizo posting here. Okay. Boom.
Saturn has a hexagon on its North Pole. And people might say, oh, well, that's NASA's fake planets. Well, whoever came up with the fake planets decided it would be worth putting a hexagon on Saturn, not a septagon or heptagon or, whatever, not a pentagon, not a pentagram. Hexagon.
You're a flat earther, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
What do you think the planets are?
Bro, Florida, you're going to tell me the earth isn't flat in Florida?
Listen, dude. What are the planets? Just answer the question.
Mm-hmm. What are the planets? Well, how about this? Why would you assume that they're made of earth and rock, just like what we're standing on? What similarity is there between what we're standing on and what you see up in the sky?
No, I've heard that before. You can't determine the shape of what's in the sky based on where you're at. What do you think the planets are?
I think they're beacons of light. I think they're beacons in the truest sense of the word, like a light that is not, we're not restricting things to these little lights, but those lights represent much greater concepts and maybe even intelligences, influences. So, God, as I've said before, God doesn't have his little, fingers where he reaches down and moves things in a physical sense down here. The way I see it is God has his lights. They twinkle, they sing, there's sonoluminescence involved. And basically, the lights up in the sky, especially the planets, they are like God's fingers. People say, oh, well, there's, 7 planets. Well, there's actually 5 planets, 5 wandering stars. And there's 2 luminaries. So sun, moon, and then 5 wandering stars. Mercury, Mars, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn. Sun and the moon also sometimes called planets. But that's pretty nice. You have 5 wandering stars for each of the fingers. You even see certain alchemical and like hermetic diagrams. You see the planets associated with each finger. I think God has more subtle influence, and it's almost like a 3D printer where what's down here is getting created every second, and what's creating is up there. There's these lights, these lasers, this machine noise coming out from the sky. It's like a 3D printer. It's also like the stage lights where things only happen if there's light. It's like if a bear shits in the woods, or if it does if a tree falls in the woods, and there's no one around to hear it, kind of in line with that principle. This is also like a stage. The world's a stage, as many people have said, and the stage lights are what give
Yes.
like dimension and color and everything to what's occurring down here. So some mix between a stage with stage lights, a 3D printer. The planets are functioning kind of like that. The planets are not rocks. The moon might be. The moon is probably the densest object up in the heavens. It looks that way. But it's not solid rock. You can't just land on it. But as far as the wandering stars, what do you think?
Doesn't matter what I think.
Right, because it's not going to be very interesting, is it? It's
Doesn't matter what I think.
It's going to be pretty much exactly what Neil deGrasse
It's
Tyson
all fake.
Chicken Wings thinks.
It's all fake and it's all gay, so it doesn't matter what we think because that's all it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to the topic at hand. We have the cube on the North Pole of Saturn. Saturn is the sixth planet from the sun. A cube is a six-sided shape. You have 666, Satan. And then have you ever heard the sounds from space? I don't even believe in space, but have you ever heard
screams? Yeah, like the recording of Saturn's noise. It's like screams.
Horrendous.
It's like agony. Yeah.
Yes.
I believe
So they, according to, so I've had Nick Hinton on the show, and he's one of the first ones to expose me to this particular thing way back when, like 5 years ago. The way he talked about it is that there's you know, you have cymatics and things of this nature, and there's this idea that cymatics and the frequency and the vibrations on Saturn or whatever are causing this shape, right?
Yeah.
And then he gets into other weird stuff where he believes that that CERN is like beaming up frequencies to Saturn. You know, it gets all crazy.
Yeah.
But
well, remember, Saturn is Satan. Saturn is Satan and Santa. You know, the old man in the north, the king of the winter, the king of the frozen, frozen lands. Yeah, the North Pole. You know, why is Santa at the North Pole? Well, Saturn is, pretty well known for his North Pole. And the hexagon, yep, you see there, the cube, the Kaaba.
Yeah, and it gets into the cube worship where there's cubes everywhere, including on the 9/11 memorial.
Tell me this. Cube.
Oh, here we go.
Cube, Kaaba, Kabbalah. Voila. Cube, Kaaba, Kabbalah. The cube, the Kaaba is a cube. And when we're working with these numbers and their meaning, that brings us into Kabbalah. So, all right. And to your point, Juan, one of my favorite quotes about astrology is, if Jupiter were the only planet in the sky, mankind would have no problems, no struggle, no nothing, just live in paradise forever and live forever. No negativity, no disease, no death. Just perfect life, paradise. But that's clearly not what God had in store in, the grand plan. So the other planets are there to kind of add decay. Saturn primarily is the influence of time, decay. Things corrode and corrupt over time. That's Saturn's influence. Venus is like Lucifer. Saturn is Satan. I don't want to step on anyone's toes, but Jesus is very much identifiable with Jupiter. The good one, the wise one, the righteous one. Jupiter in Hebrew is Tzedek, where we also get in the Bible the word Sadiq, which means wise one, righteous one, like the chosen people. If you ever hear people say, oh, the
chosen one. Yes.
Yeah. Well, all right. So Jupiter's kind of the good guy. Saturn's the bad guy in astrology. And so now we've familiarized ourselves with that a little bit. The hexagon is like the seal of Saturn. It's not the Star of David. This is not an ancient symbol of Judaism. It is probably the Star of Remphan, or
excuse my ignorance, but what's the little cube for? Oh, you can't see it. Can you take us off the screen?
On the forehead?
Yeah, what is the little cube for?
Well, inside of that little cube, there are small verses, like written verses from the Torah, and they put that in the box and they strap it to their forehead because at one point in the Old Testament, and um they've expounded on it and kind of explained it, but they trace it
Yo,
back
shout out.
they trace it back to they trace it back to
You remember that episode, bro?
yeah, I remember
Damn,
it.
they were there.
Just
They know.
so savage. They trace it back to this commandment from God saying, always keep the Torah on your mind. Like, always keep it on your mind. Like, you know, also like when they say, keep the 10 Commandments or one of God's names on your doorpost. So every time you walk by, you're reminded. It keeps it on your mind. But just to kind of illustrate how hyper literal Judaism can be sometimes, they, where the commandment says, always keep the Torah on your mind and close to your heart, they literally strap it to their head and strap it to their heart, little pieces of the Torah, so
Oh.
that they're hyper literally fulfilling that commandment.
Where is it
Therefore,
when they don't have it on their head or their heart?
what do you mean?
I mean, they're supposed
Search Tefillin, Tefillin.
Tefillin.
Yeah,
Oh, rap.
Tefillin. Yep. This is like that BDSM rap that that they wear.
Whoa, Toy Story?
It's like the
What?
oh shit.
No, that's
That's right.
Photoshop. There's no way. It's Photoshop, right?
I don't know. Might not
Oh.
be. But the origin of this is originally a commandment to keep the Torah on their mind and close to their heart. So that there's a box that they tie on the left arm that's very close to the heart. So when they close their armpit, it's pretty much touching their heart, and then they strap it to their head. And this really encapsulates a lot of their philosophy and how they interpret the Torah, how they interpret God's laws. They know they kind of can't change God's word too much, but by interpreting it in a hyper literal sense, they can check off the box, even if they maybe haven't captured the essence of that commandment. For example, what that's trying to tell you is to always keep it on your mind, and with everything you do throughout the day, keep God's word close to your decision making, right? Don't just leave it for when you get home and you crack open your dusty Bible, then you start thinking about this stuff. Let it be in your mind throughout the whole process of your day. When you're conducting business, the Torah is on your mind. God's good word is guiding you. Instead, they they appoint certain times in the day where they're going to literally strap it to their head and then say, all right, I kept it close to my mind. Now I can go back to kind of not thinking about it, So with all due respect, Christians differ in the way they interpret those original scriptures. And things like the Talmud, Mishnah, Gemara, like all these things that are not the Christian Old Testament are essentially, dare I say, coping mechanisms. And they are interpretations of, well, it says this, but this is what it means. This is how we're really going to interpret that. So, whatever.
You want to get into the Kubrick? The
Kubrick. Oh, that's pretty good.
Or hold on, it's did we finish the Boca Raton facility one? Because I have the guy that
There's a lot of good documentaries or like little old videos about the people who worked for IBM, and they talk about interesting little codes and secrets and pranks that they'd play on each other that ended up getting cemented into like the final product. For example, like Control Alt Delete was invented at that Boca Raton.
And that's like a meme now, right? Like in society, like control alt
Kinda, yeah.
delete, you know?
Yeah, so Control Alt Delete was invented there. Also, I believe the arrangement of our keyboard, like the common keyboard, I believe was, I could be wrong on that, was developed at that IBM in Boca Raton. Well, also, because when you go there, they have like a courtyard where the tiles on the floor are a keyboard. It's like painted like a keyboard, so you're stepping on like a keyboard patio. Well, yeah.
This is the architect, Marcel Brier, I think is his name. And it's interesting because he designed the Wesley chair and the Seska chair. The New York Times called it some of the most important chairs of the 20th century.
Whoa, Juan, that is
Yeah.
fucking riveting.
I'm sure there's something to it. Oh, wait a minute. What's this? Commonly known, Brewer was born Hungary to a Jewish family. Oh, whoa. Here he is, right here. To a Jewish family. He was forced to renounce his faith in order to marry due to anti-Semitic.
So he designed the building, the
Yeah,
IBM.
yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Designed by iconic Marcel, which he was born into a Tengu family.
Yeah, this building is like nuke proof. It looks like it's very brutalist and
Yeah, it's the style brutalism, which again, it's kind of soulless, right? I think we've talked about this before, where it's very soulless, very prison-esque.
it's brutal.
Right.
It's brutalizing.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, let's segue here real quick. Should we talk about Stanley Kubrick, or should we talk about the guy who took the news show hostage?
Did you get my private chat?
What?
When you were talking about it earlier?
What?
Just take a look at it.
Just say it. What the
Oh,
fuck?
that it wasn't in Florida, it was in California.
What was?
The hostage situation.
That's not true. It was in Florida.
That's what Wikipedia said.
No. Search David Horowitz hostage. Okay. Sorry, you were yeah.
Hey, 2%
You're right.
deviation. It's 2% on this timeline.
You're right. Yeah.
It happened in California. On the other timeline that you jump from, dude, because I know you have access to the 50. It happened in Florida. Okay?
This is a mandala effect.
Yeah, it is. Right. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, you were right, but hang on. Now listen. Okay.
We could still talk about the connection.
No, I was not wrong. Okay.
Oh.
The gunman. No. Listen. The gunman was from Florida. His family was from Florida. His family worked for IBM. His dad worked for IBM.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, dude. It's funny. All right. Yeah, so let's talk about him because I think this ties into what we were talking about earlier with the 3-letter agency, running Mick Ultra stuff on people and some people, right, falling for this sort of, maybe that's what these stories are for, to drive some people insane. In my opinion, I think that's part of the conspiracy culture.
Guys, can you see how Juan's trying to gaslight me over?
I'm not gaslighting you.
Forgetting. I said what? I said that the news channel was in Florida.
You said it happened in Florida. Yeah. I didn't
from
want
Florida. You can correct me on air. See, Juan didn't have the balls.
No,
to
because
say in the moment.
you act like a bitch about it when I correct you on air. That's why I
like a
respected you
bitch.
enough to tell you in the private chat, so nobody else is like, "Hey, Longo, you're a retard and you got it wrong," right? So
No,
I sent you a little private message, bro. Hey, dude. Hey,
Here,
nudge,
watch.
nudge.
We're gonna
Hey.
watch.
Hey, it
We're gonna
happened in
watch the whole-
Burbank, California, where
See, now listen, it doesn't matter where the hostage situation happened. That doesn't relate to what we're talking about. What does relate to what we're talking about is this guy, the gunman, his father worked for IBM,
yes,
and the family was from Florida. And he made some claims about IBM and the CIA, and that's what he really, really wanted to get out on air. That's why he did this, put his life on the line. So here, let's watch. We're gonna watch this. Give me 1 sec. All right, 1 second.
have you seen that dude that? Never mind.
All right, this is David Horowitz taken hostage on live TV, 1987, from the Watch Fight Back YouTube channel. All right, let's react. We're going to react to it.
Fritz Coleman weather.
Put it down a little bit, bro.
Red Rogan, sports. Jess Marvel, cover story. And David Sheehan, entertainment. Channel 4 News, lights
There you
are
go.
number 1 at 11.
Good evening. It has been quite a day here at Channel 4, and tonight security is being beefed up at KNVC after a gunman walked into our news studio right here this afternoon and on live television at gunpoint ordered consumer reporter David Horowitz to read a message live on television. Nobody was hurt. That gunman is in police custody tonight. And Jess's cover story takes a look at what hundreds of thousands of Shock Channel 4 news viewers watched on television on the 4 o'clock news. Jess?
Kelly, the man who had been permitted to watch the broadcast in the studio had given no indication of his intent. He had been sitting quietly until David Horowitz was ready to begin broadcasting his consumer segment.
Because, one of the nicest things about shopping by mail order. Pardon me? What is this? Let me see what it says. All right. All right, well, let me read this. Folks, we have someone on the set who's standing here and would like me to read this copy which was just handed to me. You want to tell me your name or not? What is it? And Gary, where are you from?
At that point, the control room was ordered to go to black, kill the studio mics, and put up a standby slide. But Horowitz continued to read, and the gunman kept the gun in his back.
I was warned in 1981 by someone with connections at the CIA to stay off the computers, that they didn't trust people on computers. When I began receiving disturbing calls from my parents, which led me to believe that something terrible was going on, I was then forced into a mental hospital in Tallahassee, where I learned that my brother-in-law had been driven insane in the same manner that someone was trying to do to me.
The gun was a precise replica, and police, who by then had entered the facilities, made plans to deal with the situation. But when the statement had been read, the gunman placed the gun on the desk, and anchorman John Beard grabbed it. Burbank police wrestled the man to the floor. He has been identified as Gary Stolman, and he said he never intended to harm anyone. Indeed, the gun proved a fake. But Stolman may still face a variety of charges. He is the son of pharmacist Max Stolman, a former member of the Channel 4 news team reporting on medicine and related issues. Max Stolman said, "I do have a sick son. He has been hospitalized a number of times. I am thankful he wasn't killed."
Juan, real quick, can we get a early life check? Can we get a family name origin check?
Hold on. This guy looks
Stolman.
like a Podesta, bro.
Yeah, he does.
Right? Look at this.
At a
Look
news
my-
conference this evening, Horowitz, who appeared to maintain his calm throughout the ordeal, acknowledged his fair share of anxiety.
And I've covered enough hostage situations, and I've been in Vietnam, and I know that when someone points a gun at you, you do what they tell you to do and hope that someone's going to save you. You're thinking about your wife and your kids and your family, and you say, what am I doing here? Why is this happening to me? And you just try to maintain as much cool as you possibly can, because I realize that if you do anything out of course, as far as this person is concerned, I don't know whether the guy was a terrorist or a wacko or somebody that was trying to get even for something. You don't know who's there.
News director Tom Capra explained his order to pull the plug.
Is that we cannot allow people with guns or weapons of any kind to take a television station hostage. So the first thing you do is go to black and kill the mics to make sure that the message, whatever it is, never gets out.
Co-anchors John Beard and Kirsty Wilde sat through the ordeal, Kirsty worrying that she had okayed Stolman getting into the studio.
He called me to get in. You can't just walk in here. He called me and said that he was Max Stolman's son and he lived in the East and that he had never had the opportunity to see his dad while he was on our air, and could he come down and watch the show?
He had a pass. I noticed the pass on his chest, and nobody noticed anything out of the ordinary until David is on. He's standing behind David, and at first we thought it was just someone who was mixed up, confused, didn't realize he was in the way.
Once the crisis had ended, there was time for reflection and concern for Max Stolman, the gunman's father.
Max is a terrific guy.
Max is just one of the nicest people in the entire world.
Absolutely.
And it is awful if this should happen to anyone connected with Max. He's just, and you know, we love it.
Gary Stolman remains in custody. Charges may await a psychiatric evaluation. No one was injured, as Kelly indicated, and the principals involved are tonight regaining their composure. Security has been tightened to the extent no one is permitted in the studios without a permanent pass. Visitors' passes will no longer be accepted.
Honey, pause it at his dad again, bro. By the way, he was 33 when he did that. So let's hit the
Illuminati confirmed.
when I confirm, boys. So go back to the right there. He looks just like for a second from the side, he looked like let's see here. You can't see my screen, but he looks like Podesta for a second.
Yeah.
And what was the last name? It was Stolman.
Stolman. Yeah, 2 L's. IBM executive. They didn't mention that, but they said he was a pharmacist. Who knows?
Yeah, the dad was a pharmacist.
Maybe he was drugging his son. Who knows?
The Stolman family name is primarily of Germanic, Dutch, and Tengu origins, with its roots tracing back to medieval Europe, depending on the branch of family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, these are Florida family. So I think we know which one. But
Yeah, I think so too, bro.
So David Horowitz was also, by the way, David Horowitz. Check that name out. That's a Tengu name for sure. But Max, or what's his name? David Horowitz, taken hostage live on air by a mentally ill, allegedly or apparently mentally ill. You know, it's a terrible thing when someone gets called mentally ill or sick in the head when they aren't really. You know, that's gaslighting, as we all know. But I don't know. Seems like his dad kind of swept it under the rug. Yeah, he's sick. Yeah, he does stuff like that. Yeah, that's my boy. All right, you know, he's a silly kid. But so Max, go ahead.
That's probably like one of the most terrifying things of being, you see these movies where they put people in these mental institutions against their will. And like, because it's a movie, the person's like, okay. Like that's one of my worst fears of like being put in some place against your will, or even going to jail for a crime you didn't commit. I think those are like right there next to each other of pretty horrible things that could possibly happen to you. But yeah, just writing it off like, oh, nothing. There's Longo again, just doing what he does, going crazy. I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting. I wonder if we can get a transcript exactly of what he said. But he was 33 when that happened.
Well, he was basically saying that computers are posing a danger to everyone, and that he knows the CIA was cloning people and using computers to take over people's brains. Interesting, also, real quick, in Tallahassee, there is an FSU shooter who shot up FSU library in, like, I don't know, 2012, 2015, around there. 2014, I think. And he had been making YouTube videos for weeks saying, guys, I'm hearing voices. I think they're coming after me. I think they're messing with my... This was like 2014.
Was there a new one though? Because it says here.
There was a new one.
But check this out. So we're talking about the computers helping, right? Driving people.
Ooh.
Lawsuit accuses ChatGPT of helping plan FSU. What?
Oh, well.
This is the issue with this, bro, where people are believing. There's the other one where he thought he was talking to the girl from Game of Thrones, the dragon girl, Daenerys Targaryen. And then the AI told him to off himself, and he did. You saw that one, right? That was in Florida too, I believe.
Yeah. Search. What was this guy's name? I forget his name.
So you said 2014.
I remember the arresting officer's name. FSU shooters, Oma Nations.
Oma Nations.
Yeah, look that up.
Brevard native honored for stopping. So 2015. Okay.
Yeah, I think the shooting happened in 2014. Could be wrong.
Oh, brother.
So yeah, we'll go see if you can find the shooter's name. Basically, he believed he was a targeted individual. So just put 2014 in, bruh. Trust me. There you go.
Oh.
I was right.
Yeah, you're right on this one. Yes, Longo, you were right on this one, dude.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So Florida State. This guy's name.
So this guy claimed he made YouTube videos saying, yeah, I'm a targeted individual. They're messing with my head. I'm worried about what's going to happen in the future. And no one really cared. And then he did the shooting. And thankfully...
Myron May? This guy?
Yes. Yep. Myron May.
What does he look like? Let's see. This guy?
Yeah.
Huh. Not the typical demographic. I'm just going to say that.
That's what a lot of people look like in Tallahassee. Like black people who went to college.
Oh, Georgia. Yeah, I guess. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because Tallahassee's not really Florida. It's just like, remember, anything above Central Florida is not real.
Yeah, it's just the capital. I mean.
Yeah, it's just up. It's Florida and then just whatever, South Georgia.
So, all right. Forget about this guy, but just interesting that this is all kind of happening around Tallahassee. We've got 3 people here who were gunmen who claimed they had their mind scrambled or something similar to that, had their mind scrambled in Tallahassee. Well, IBM was also very involved in Tallahassee. Okay, all these pictures here are coming from the Tallahassee IBM building back in the 70s or so. You can see. Oh, look, dude, that's dude. Time trap, dude. Bro. Time traveler.
Dude. Hey.
That's a fucking...
Don't be racist, okay?
That's fucking DeAndre Titor, dude. That's Javon Titor.
All right, don't.
That's Jaquan Titor, bro.
You got mad at me earlier for saying all white people look the same, so don't
bro, that's the same guy, dude.
That is not the guy.
That's the same guy. I need to zoom in on this even further. Dude, pull up Myron May.
Oh my, I got him pulled up here. Hold on.
That is fucking.
No, this
huge.
guy's bald, bro. This guy here is bald.
We found Javon Titor, dude.
Where you at?
Dude, straight up. Bro.
He's kind of bald too, bro. Damn. And that's in Tallahassee?
Yeah. That's in Tallahassee.
Oh, let's get a side profile of him right. This guy right here.
Did he ever have glasses on?
Doesn't look like it.
No. That's one. Bow tie.
No.
No. All right, well, close enough, Mr. Bowtie. Welcome back. Welcome back,
He tried to tell us.
Mr. Titor.
Yikes. Okay.
Dude, that's uncanny. That's but all right, so that's some guy at IBM in Tallahassee. And so IBM was active in Tallahassee and then Boca Raton. But all right. That guy's dad worked at IBM. He claimed the CIA was, messing with his brain. Now, what else do we have to talk about? All right, I'm going to show you a picture of one. Well, Stanley Kubrick, 2001: A Space Odyssey. The villain of the movie is a AI program named HAL. HAL. Can you look that up, Juan?
Yeah. Yeah, by the way, they do call it the brick.
What?
HAL 9, the IBM place in Boca. HAL 9000. There you go. Put them up.
HAL 9000 is the, antagonist in not The Shining. 2001: A Space Odyssey. It's the AI, it's like the Siri to the spaceship that this crew is on out deep in space, and this AI controls their life support systems. They're like sleeping in cryo chambers, and the AI can control all that. It can turn it off. It can kill them if it wants. It lets all the doors open and close back into the ship. And over time, this murderous AI, this jealous, desperate AI consciousness, thing, eliminates the crew of the ship, except for one survivor, who is then kind of lost in space and taken in by like a alien god or some distant interdimensional intelligence that can like travel space-time. And it's kind of like time travel. There's elements of time travel to that movie, not explicitly, but you get a taste of like time travel and the folding of time and dimensions opening up at the end of that movie. HAL, who is this AI force that's like working against humanity, humanity's like on path to like meet their creator and I don't know, penetrate this
nice
alternate dimension and
Yeah.
whatever. But Hal tries to kill them first, and then only one survives, and he's kind of rescued. Or the way Kubrick said it was, the movie ends with the one survivor being put in a human enclosure. The aliens make like a room to put him in, kind of like how when we find a pet or when we find a animal, like we just put them in a little cage and kind of forget about them for most of the day. 2001: A Space Odyssey ends with this alien intelligence creating like an interdimensional hotel room for the surviving crew member to live in. And you get this sense of the agonizing time, how he's just sitting in this room, nothing to do, But from the outside looking in, if you're like a human looking at a rabbit in a cage, you're like, oh, well, they have a cage. There's their food. There's the water. He's got everything he needs, you know? It's not my favorite movie, but it does a good job conveying like the boredom, right? This guy's stuck for like the rest of his life, 100 years, it may even be hundreds or thousands of years. He's stuck in this like hotel room. But whatever. So there's elements of time travel to it. Go ahead, hold
Um, I want you to finish, and then we'll get into what I just found. It's interesting.
So HAL is IBM. Kubrick was going to he was going to use IBM, but was worried he might get in trouble or it would be too on the nose, you know. So he decided an interesting little kind of code or way to make it more cryptic. Instead of IBM, Kubrick went HAL. That's one letter off from all three letters. So the following letter for each of the three letters. So instead of actually it's the preceding letter, excuse me. So instead of I, you go forward one letter to H. Instead of B, we go to A. Instead of M, we go to L. So IBM became HAL. Kubrick is saying IBM, the company who's making all these personal computers, all these things, it was decades off from Siri and AI and flock cameras. That's another part of HAL is tapped into all the security cameras and knows everyone's heartbeat, knows everyone's where they are at all times. And so Kubrick was saying, even before he ever saw an iPhone or anything like that, Kubrick was saying the computers are already posing this threat. We're relying on them for so much. It's similar to Terminator and The Matrix, where the machines Kubrick was expressing this concern that the machines might take over. And if we give AI too much independence, it can come back to
just
damage.
Unplug it. That's all you got to do.
Come back to kill us. Well, another big part of the 2001: A Space Odyssey movie is the introduction of these obelisks. So this alien race, or this kind of grand architect of the universe, or who knows, this alien race that's interacting with humanity in 2001: A Space Odyssey, they place obelisks almost like milestones or markers of advancement. Like they put one on Earth, buried or somewhere. They put one on the moon. They put one on one of Jupiter's moons. And based off when humanity finds them, that lets the humans know how, that lets the aliens know how progressed humanity is, right? Like if they made it to the moon and they activate this obelisk, we know that they've achieved the ability to kind of interplanetary travel, something close to that. So the obelisks are like markers, they're like Easter eggs, they're breadcrumbs, but they're also like tests, right? Milestones. So all right, I'm talking about this obelisk because all of this kind of revolving around Florida. What could the 2001: A Space Odyssey possibly have to do with Florida? Well, I'm going to show you a picture here, and you guys tell me what you think. This is a picture that I made. side by side comparison. You guys see that?
Titor strikes again.
Okay. On the right there, that is an infamous scene from 2001: A Space Odyssey, where the obelisk that was placed on prehistoric Earth is discovered by a group of apes, or humans, archaic humans, hominids, and they're so kind of dumbfounded, awestruck by this object, by the geometry of it, that they seem to worship it, right? And it's even kind of implied that this interaction may have even been the birth of religion and civilization in this timeline, or this narrative, according to the movie. So on the right there, the scene from 2001: A Space Odyssey, the apes kind of worshiping, venerating this obelisk. On the left, what we're looking at is the Timucua Indians in Northeast Florida, who are worshiping a column that the French Huguenots left behind when they came to Florida in 1562. Between 1562 and 1565, the French were around St. Augustine, Jacksonville, parts of South Carolina, and the Huguenots were trying to set up a colony. When they left, they had to leave for a time. They built this pillar, this obelisk, and they engraved it, and think about being a Native American and never seeing this type of geometry before. Hewn stone. They might have had something similar, but nothing quite like this. They had skilled craftsmen who built this pillar, this obelisk. And the Indians, when the French left, they almost kind of left it as like a present to the Indians. The Indians started worshiping it because they were confused as to its purpose. What the hell is this for? It's like a display of power, display of intelligence. The French might not have seen it like that. The French was almost maybe like a whatever, doesn't matter. But the Indians there, the Florida Indians, are crowding around this obelisk much in the same way that Kubrick showed the apes crowding his obelisk. What do you think, Juan?
Yeah, I think there is a striking resemblance. It's almost, and again, it could have been that Kubrick, being who he was, very cryptic in nature, maybe drew the parallels between these two events and put it in his movie, right? Almost to some maybe a nod, or he saw the symbol, he saw the writing on the walls. And I don't know what you think about Kubrick, if you think he was an intelligence asset, if because you have the whole moon landing faking tape that they made allegedly, and he put that some of those what was The Shining, where he's got the shirt with NASA on it. I believe that's the one.
Yeah.
Where it kind of puts those nods in there. So maybe he was in the know with the people, right? I mean, that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. When you had shown me this, it was pretty interesting.
What I think might have happened is Stanley Kubrick was researching IBM, the history of IBM, realized that they were headquartered in Florida, or had a headquarters in Florida, or multiple, and maybe did a little digging, found this old picture of some Florida Indians, and who knows? It's not outside the realm of possibility that he stumbled on some info about the Florida Indians when researching IBM and the history there in Florida. Who knows?
So
Good. Go ahead.
No, I couldn't find the actual thing, but the AI decided to, right? The AI likes to do funny things. And somebody in the chat mentioned something about an IBM plane going missing by Little St. James or whatever. And so I had Googled IBM computers in Little St. James, and it came up with this. Like it's really weird that it came up with this specific thing. So it says this, right? During an August 2019 raid on Jeffrey Epstein's private Caribbean island, Little St. James, FBI agencies, computer desktops, and Apple computer and various hardwares. While specific hardware brands are part of the broader federal investigation, Epstein previously donated 50 IBM Link computers to local U.S. Virgin Islands schools and youth groups. But see, I'm not able to. He did, for a fact, donate to the Virgin Islands and the kids, like kids with disabilities. He gave them Kindles. He gave them computers and all this other stuff. So he did give to the kids and the Virgin Islands, but I can't confirm that it was actually the IBM computer, because that'd be interesting, right? IBM, and then it's IBM Link computers. And if you look it up, IBM Link computers, it's like it generally refers to modern integrations combining traditional supercomputing architecture with IBM's cloud and quantum ecosystems. So again, just the AI doing AI stuff. I couldn't confirm it, but I did confirm that he did donate stuff to people. And then they were like, hey, we have to review this stuff because this guy's a creep. We can't be taking stuff from creeps, right? Obviously, this guy was in Florida too. And just another connection to the
Oh, dude, you want to hear something crazy? I saw Palm Beach Pete today in person.
Palm Beach, who's that?
You don't know who Palm Beach Pete is?
No.
You've been living under a rock?
Oh, the guy that looks like him.
Yeah.
You saw him today? He's in.
He pulled up
your
next
area?
to me. Pulled up next to me in the car.
If I was this guy, bro, I would hide away forever. Okay, and I wouldn't use this for clout. Like, hey, I look like this absolute scum of a human. Let me use it for clout and go and do all these interviews and stuff like that. Some people think it's him, bro. Some people think it's actually him.
Yeah. Who knows? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, if I was
that's just what so many people look like down here. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, that's just a 60-something-year-old Jewish guy in Palm Beach, Florida. There's like a million of those. Hate to break it to people.
Yikes. Anyways, that's funny, dude. Should get him on the podcast.
He would probably do it. He does like every podcast that reaches out to him, almost.
I mean, what would we talk about with this guy? I mean, hey, you look like Jeffrey Epstein, bro. How does that feel?
Yeah, he's really milking his 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'd stay away from that one, dude.
But all right, I think we covered everything, guys.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. IBM. You know, a lot of people talk about John Titor, but not many people have ever tied it into that hostage situation. Guy made claims that were kind of similar to John Titor's a little bit.
And who knows if Titor could have been another one of these people in one of these programs that was made to believe that they were a time traveler, right? I mean, because I think that a lot of people, right, when it comes to the UFO phenomenon and a lot of these things that people talk about being abducted, I think that those are just stories that people use to cope with some other darker stuff that they don't know how to articulate. So therefore their minds just go to like, hey, I was abducted by aliens and they did stuff to me, while it was actually them as like a young person and a family member was doing it to them. Like, I think that a lot of that stuff is just a way for people to cope with trauma. And who knows if, right, this guy went on the news and went on this rant and people just dismiss him. But a lot of the times, I mean, it could go either way. They could be telling the truth, how they could just be coping with, large amounts of stress and things like that. So I don't know. You can't throw out the baby with the bathwater 100%, but you get what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, Palm Beach Pete never throws out his baby bathwater.
Yeah.
Never. Baby bathwater. Never mind.
Yeah.
All right, we'll just wrap it up here. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Guys and girls, thanks for tuning in. Go subscribe to One on One podcast if you haven't already. And we'll see you next Thursday. We'll try and come up with a cool
don't hit
topic.
me up Wednesday to give me the topic for today. Okay, let's decide today for the topic next Thursday.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
All
We'll
right.
see.
Okay.
All right, everyone. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Peace.
Bye.
Yep. Wild Indian, yeah.
Hey, V, line them up.
I'm a wild Indian, I go crazy. Ain't really Indian, that boy fugazi. I just keep it player, you can never play me. You got an ass so fat, girl, let's make a baby. And another one. Then I'm back to the trap, I'm trying to double some. She a bad woke chick and I love her tongue. We some jurisdiction boys, we some one-on-ones. Look, don't compare me to no Martin dog, I'm like Malcolm X. Die by our freedom, we'll leave a crack stretch. Round of applause, boy, we clapping text. Chucky dog, child's play, yeah, nigga, that's what's next. Open up them cans just like Arizona. Pull up masked up like we got the Rona. We set up jurisdictions when we buy the corner. How you claiming that's your hood and you not the owner? Be the B, I just pulled up in the need for speed. Free the land, tell the colonizers that they need to leave. Wild Indian up in my veins, you know how we bleed. You ain't gotta lie about who we is, dog, just keep it G. We at war, we can't keep the peace. Since we at war, gotta keep the peace. Whack a cone, then I meditate. Should I need to breathe? Keep a Olmec head when we slide, dog, cause we the shit.
Like my niggas said, bitch, we the shit. I can't keep the peace. If it pop off, then I want a piece. I'm just on release. I'm in go mode, motherfuck the thief. In these streets like EBT, when we at war, make peace with me. I don't give a damn, understand. Fuck who stole this land, white or black or tan. Understand, it's fuck who stole this land. Might have seen me get little buddy these hands. He wasn't no abo man. Now these dudes is Sambo man. They full of shit like my ammo can. What they call an N-word out the wrong mouth as an ambulance. Wild Indian, get it in advance, or you can post date it. Ask around, I'm the most hated. Straight sacred, they stole acreage. Go ape shit, show ain't shit. It won't be televised, I don't tape shit.
Be the B, I just pulled up in the need for speed. Free the land, tell the colonizers that they need to leave. Wild Indian up in my veins, you know how we bleed. You ain't gotta lie about who we is, dog, just keep it G. We at war, we can't keep the peace. Since we at war, gotta keep the peace. Whack a cone, then I meditate. Should I need to breathe? Keep a Olmec head when we slide, dog, cause we the sheep.